Yesterday in Parliament, an amendment was brought forward. This amendment was summarily debated on and voted on. This amendment became somewhat controversial in Parliament and now serves as the final defeat of Theresa May's premiership. The bill basically prevents any Prime Minister from proroguing Parliament to force through a no-deal Brexit. The votes, though, are quite interesting, because 15 people abstained from voting. Some of those who abstained would include Rory Stewart, Greg Clark, David Gauke, Philip Hammond, Margot James, who actually quit as a Tory minister, and Anne Milton. There was also a Lord's bill that was voted in favour of over prorogation, and this actually now has to go back to the House of Lords anyway. For those who don't know, the definition of proroguing is to discontinue a session of Parliament or Legislative Assembly without having it dissolved. It was an idea put forward by Dominic Raab during the early stages of the Tory leadership campaign, something which Boris Johnson has refused to rule out, and Jeremy Hunt has ruled out. On the subject of Jeremy Hunt, though, rather interestingly, he accidentally voted against the government's prorogation amendment by mistake. This could harm his chances that are already somewhat slim in his current leadership battle. The votes for this were 315 in favour of blocking prorogation, 274 against, and 15 abstaining. The options left on the table are quite slim. They are simply the deal, an extension which is sorcery at best, although the new president, Ursula von blah blah, has indicated she would accept it if something was brought to the table, although they have outright ruled it out already, so it's nice to see them buckle over and over again. No deal, which is the legal default, or we don't leave, which is more than likely at this point. People might say there are other options. How about people voting on the deal or no deal, or a second referendum? No, you don't get to vote again on a referendum when the result has already been cast and it was decisive last time. 1 million people different. Yeah, you're lost. With what has happened, it's understandable that people like Gina Miller and John Major celebrate this. Two people who would have tried to take the government, or Boris more particularly should he become Prime Minister and attempt prorogation, to court to prevent him from forcing through no deal. It should also be stated that while they have voted against prorogation, this just makes it more difficult for whoever the new Prime Minister is to shut Parliament down if they want to shut Parliament down. But I should point out, it would cause constitutional outrage. It would be a constitutional crisis to shut the doors of Parliament to force through no deal. I should also point out, as it is quite relevant, that while MPs are up in arms about this, not one time have they ever come together to agree how best to handle leaving the EU. They have repeatedly, consistently voted all over the place. Disarray is a word you could use. Chaos, almost apt, because they're not voting for the deal, they won't vote for no deal, they won't allow no deal, but they won't accept the deal, they won't renegotiate the deal. The only options they have in their head are Remain or another referendum, both of which have been repeatedly voted down, because it would, in and of itself, be equally a constitutional crisis and an absolute affront to democracy, much like prorogation. The PM's spokesman did indicate that they're not best pleased with those that voted against the government, but at this point, it doesn't matter. Her last PMQs is next week for those who are interested. It is the last time we have to put up with her as Prime Minister before the next one steps in, and we should find out over the weekend who is replacing her. For anyone who wants to credit somebody with bringing this nonsense forward, Dominic Grieve, yes, the biggest Ramona of them all, next to Anna Soubry and possibly Chuka Umuna, all of whom who think they're better than everyone else. Now, as a final thing, tonight, 9 PM, 9:30 PM, 9 PM, one of those two, on this channel, political recap stream with Trups LP. We have a brand new set, things look amazing, format's going to be good. I hope to see you all there.